at the channel. This your boy Hood. We popping off at y'all again. We kicking it this time about Mayor Johnson, our mayor in Chicago, and the situation of the National Guard coming here and all the stuff that got to go with that. And this is the mayor here, Mayor Johnson, and the stuff that he got going on. And I appreciate y'all if you get a chance to come over here and check out the channel and check out the show. This is our poll that's over here in the comment section. If you get a chance, you can check that out and make a vote. Is Mayor Johnson delusional about crime? So it's Chicago mayor version. We know what I just said. But anyway, I appreciate y'all for checking us out. So without further ado, we're gonna get right to it. I saw some videos this morning and I wanted to look about them and we could talk about them and all like that. So let's get straight to it. Welcome to the channel. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Oh, I forgot. I gotta check the audio because sometimes it doesn't work when you be ready to go straight into the show and people come in and say, I can't hear you. You're like, what the fuck? I appreciate y'all. All right, so look like the sound is working. It's kind of turned down a little bit. Let's get to the first part of the segment. We got Mayor Johnson talking about where he lives in Chicago. So let's get to it and we'll talk about it in a minute.
You know, the city of Chicago is not the only place in America where violence has spiked, especially over the last couple of years. But as it pertains to the neighborhood that I'm raising my family in, my wife and I, we love Austin. It is still, it's a beautiful place. We love it. And, it is one of the most violent neighborhoods in the entire city. In fact, Chris, I would argue, and I don't think I even have to argue, but, I'm the first mayor in the city of Chicago's history to wake up every single day in one of the most violent neighborhoods in the entire city. And so, this might sound a little, heavy-handed or maybe perhaps a little bit audacious, but I would argue though that no one thinks about public safety more than I do.
Yo, and that's deep what he said because being a person from Chicago, I did not know he lived in the West Side like that. You always hear about the mayors, and you always know that just by the word mayor that they living in a bougie section. You know what I'm saying? Like where it's nice, like all the mayors went before him has been living like right off Roosevelt Road. It's beautiful over there. They got all the shopping. It's literally 3 blocks from downtown. It is downtown, but it's more the residential area. But that's where they all live. Just like a little few houses down there. But now you see Mayor Johnson say he don't even live there. He live way off in the hood, like in Austin, probably about a good 25 minutes from downtown, if not longer, at least 20 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So damn, I'm like, whoa. So what would make him live there? I guess that's my question. Like, what would make the mayor want to live in one of the most grimiest parts of the city? It's like, what the fuck is he talking about? But this way he say he lives. The mayor Johnson said he lived in the most violent part of Chicago. So I saw this guy talking about it. Let me let this guy talk about it a little bit. Welcome to the show. Like and subscribe. I appreciate y'all checking us out. And let's go.
And there you have it. Brandon Johnson, mayor of the city of Chicago, who actually lives in the Austin neighborhood. And he is saying it's one of the most violent neighborhoods in the city of Chicago. He's raising his family there. He's got his wife and his 2 kids. He's often told this story about how a bullet went through one of the windows of where he lives and was lodged in a wall. He won't even move his own family out of Austin. He is that tied ideologically to what he believes. But don't take my word for it. Again, he lives in Austin, and just in the last 24 hours, this happened.
Whoa. But look, that's crazy because a mayor living in the hood, that's next. It's not 2 of them. It's not 3 of them. I mean, come on. It's so unorthodoxly crazy that when I was a kid in Chicago, there was a white lady that was a mayor. Her name was Mayor Jane Byrne. And she had went viral because when you're a kid, you don't really care about mayors and all of that. But this lady went viral, but viral on regular TV. Not it was no internet. And she was living in the projects. She had moved down to the projects to live, and the news went down there. She was coming to the door in her pajamas. There's nothing but black people living in the projects at this time, and she was like, I'm finna go down there and live. Now, when I talked about that as I got older to people that was older than me, and I was like, well, what about that white lady who moved to the name? And they was like, man, dang, she ain't just moved to the project. She had them people renovate it and set it up. They moved the rats out. They did all this thing for her to move. I think she stayed down there a week or something like that, or a month. But this was on TV when you were a kid. You're like, damn, man, Jane Byrne moved to the projects in Chicago. But so you know she lived in a bougie crib prior to the little 3 weeks or whatever time frame she stayed down there. And you know she still probably, when she stopped being the mayor, she lived in a bougie crib for the rest of her life. But, you know, a lot of people living in projects in Chicago at that time was stuck. You know what I'm saying? So even with the mayor saying that he lives in the hood in Austin is crazy. I didn't even know that. I'm thinking he lived somewhere downtown. He out of touch. But to be living in Austin, that means you walking outside your crib and you seeing it right live. It ain't, you know, I mean, they say he got 150 police crew, which I didn't know that, but that's, you know, it's like, damn, you're 150 people. Whoa. So let's see what happened. He said this guy was about to tell us what happened. Like guys, and I got a poll in the comment section. Is Chicago Mayor Johnson delusional for crime in Chicago? Let's get back to the show.
We want to continue though following that breaking news in Chicago's Austin neighborhood where Chicago police say an officer shot and killed someone while they were pinned by an SUV. Asal Razai has been following this story for us every step of the way, joining us live now near the scene at Waller in Chicago. And Asal, I know we've been learning new information every hour on the story.
Yeah, Audrina, that's right. And it's still an active scene out here. We've been watching as detectives have been collecting evidence, really focusing in on that black Nissan sedan that you see officers surrounding right now just across the red crime tape here. Police say one suspect is dead, another suspect in custody, and a third suspect remains on the run. Police say they recovered several weapons from inside that black Nissan you see surrounded by police right now. We're told this all started when police were responding to three men attempting to steal an SUV around 3:45 this morning. That's what led to a police chase, then a crash that left an officer hurt and a suspect shot. You're looking at video of the scene in Austin. Police say once the suspects were spotted by police, they headed southbound on Waller Avenue. They came face to face with police as they got to Chicago Avenue. Police say that's when they intentionally hit two marked Chicago police cars, pinning an officer who shot at them. One of the suspects did get hit by that officer's gunfire. He was taken to the hospital.
So they saying that this happened down the street from Mayor Johnson crib. And I think that that's really what's highlighted in this moment. Is like, so the Mayor Johnson, the mayor, he lives 2 blocks from where this occurred. These dudes trying to carjack somebody last night. But it sounds crazy because if he got 150 police people that's watching him, like, how could they do a crime 2 blocks up? You wouldn't think that there's a lot of police like swarming the hood, just like out there and shit. But you know, 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning, that it might, people probably thought ain't nothing finna happen tonight. I'm taking my ass in, and then something go down. So, but I mean, again, he lives supposed to be down the street from this moment, and it's like crazy. Would you live that close to crime? Would you want to live that close to crime? It's kind of something to think about, man. Let me know in the comment section what y'all think. Hit me up on Chicago. Let me know in the poll. Vote in the poll, basically. And let's get back to it. Let me see what old boy's saying about this mayor. Some dude I found online. So let's see what he got to say.
To rob a car, they tried to steal a car, and the police interdicted and stopped them. But I want you to notice 3 really interesting things about what you just heard that reporter say. One person was shot, one person was taken into custody, but a third person got away on foot. If you go back and watch another one of my videos, I talk about how the city of Chicago, they have a moratorium on foot chases because they don't want anyone to get hurt. Again, they actually shot one person. One person didn't make it, but then now this police officer is going to be interviewed and going to be interrogated by COPA because they've got to give all of this scrutiny to a police officer who discharged his firearm. But you just heard they were trying to steal a car.
But hold on now. See, that's what the dude he lose me right there, because in the history of stealing cars, nobody dies. You know what I mean? I guess they was trying to carjack somebody, technically, not steal a car, and it was really a carjacking. So when he says steal a car, that's like a slip. They was trying to carjack somebody, and that's what the police claim, and that led them to shoot someone, and the guys were shot back at the cops. It's like a lot of wild shit go down. I mean, it's just at 3 in the morning, though, I bet you anywhere in the world some wild shit going down. It's not like just specifically to Chicago. But I mean, you got to be diligent and watch out no matter where you are because things can pop off anywhere at any time. It's what it is, man. So we got the poll down there. Let me know what y'all think of the poll. I'm gonna let the guy explain a little bit further. Let's go.
Shots fired. Shots fired by a vehicle and a person shot. Chicago and Wallace.
And again, police say multiple weapons were recovered at the scene here. We know 2 Chicago police officers were transported to an area hospital for non-life-threatening injuries. The Civilian Office of Police Accountability is here also investigating. I'm in Austin this morning. Asal Razai, CBS.
You heard it. You heard it right there. Being investigated by COPA. Imagine the psychology of police officers that they have to worry about going on a foot chase, going on an auto chase, discharging their weapons, being investigated by COPA, being under the scrutiny of every...
Hey, look, that's what's called a job. So I don't care that the police got to be under scrutiny. It's called a 9 to 5. If you don't like it, you shouldn't work there. I mean, that's what it is. People pay your bills. People pay you to go to work. So that means you got to be culpable to those people. You got to answer to those folks. So it's not just your supervisor, your sergeant, your manager. You got to answer to them, to the city, the people, just like we would or you would at your job. You can't just put any kind of video you want on YouTube. You have to answer to them according to their guidelines. And it's really rampant in Chicago. But I didn't know the mayor stayed so close to it. It's like, what? All right, let's get back to it real quick.
The president's crime crackdown is also creating a storm in the Windy City. ICE enforcement is expected to start up in Chicago today, while leaders there are threatening to take action if the National Guard steps in. But what do residents want? Let's ask one. Chicago resident Kata Scruggs is the director of the Community Roundtable. She's also a former Chicago School Board member. Kata, thanks for coming on with us today. Really appreciate it. I've seen you commenting on this issue on other shows on Fox News, so you're a perfect guest here. Federal troops, as we know, are supposed to land in Chicago sometime today. As you know these numbers better than anybody, over Labor Day weekend, 54 people were shot, 7 people were killed. The former head of the Chicago Police Department broke the numbers down like this. He said every 4 hours, someone is shot, and every 20 hours, someone is murdered. So how does the governor say there's no crime problem there?
Well, first of all, let me make a correction. I am not a former member of the Board of Education. My husband is.
Okay,
but
thank you for that.
But the fact of the matter is this. This is basically smoke and mirrors. People don't want to see crime go down, I feel like, because there's money in crime. There's money in the disinvestment of communities. There's money in people not being able to fend for themselves and take care of themselves.
Yo, I agree with that lady when it comes to that. And just to see that she's saying that, crime is down and all that, it's like different. And they play the whole Democrat Republican game. So you kind of really don't know whose side to take or the side you take in this regard. It depends on who you vote for, what section of the voting that you lean towards, So that's really something that you got to kind of gauge when they go into these old arguments like these. You know what I'm saying? Like who's right, who's wrong. So I'm gonna let Mayor Johnson explain himself a little bit because we gotta let him talk about it. We heard what the people saying. So hit the like button too, guys. We got the poll down there. Is Mayor Johnson doing the right thing or the wrong thing when it comes to crime? So let me let him talk about it real quick. And we're still on this one. All right, and bam.
Instead of spending hundreds of millions of dollars for a publicity stunt to invoke chaos and terror, the federal government should spend that money on proven solutions to crime and violence reduction. We cannot incarcerate our way out of violence. We've already tried that, and we've ended up with the largest prison population in the world without solving the problems of crime and violence. The addiction on jails and incarceration in this country, we have moved past that. It is racist, it is immoral, it is unholy, and it is not the way to drive violence down. We cannot return to the same failed strategies that got us here in the first place. Under the previous presidential administration, we requested more federal resources to address gun violence in our city. We continue to make that same call. We have made significant progress on our own, but there is so much more that we can do if we had real support from the federal government. Our communities need more federal resources.
So it's like basically the crime got to stay the same until the federal resources come. So then I guess the next question is, why do Trump and them don't give up the resources? You know what I'm saying? If the person on the ground is telling you, it's like an army, and the general is saying, calling his sergeants or his lieutenants and saying, yo, what you got going on? And then he'd be like, yo, we need more troops. It's looked like it's a fire about 400 meters from us, and we probably leaving food. And then the general will be like, nah, y'all out there sitting on y'all ass chilling. Ain't nobody doing no work. And it's like, well, no, we got 8 deaths, 14 guys injured, and we need food to feed them, and we probably need some more bandages and shit like that. He like, nah, y'all chilling. You know what I keep seeing when I look over there? All y'all in y'all uniforms, but ain't nobody doing nothing. And it's like, why the general don't believe what the fuck we saying? I'm telling the general what's going on. He looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, what's going on with the general? So it's almost like that. Like the Chicago people saying, we down and all we need is this, that, and the third to make it happen. But you looking at us like we ain't doing nothing. So the general keeps saying, when I come in there, I'm finna smack their ass around and smack you around for making me have to come down there. And it's like, well, damn, you supposed to be the general showing me some, you supposed to be my general. Why you mad at me? I'm telling you what's happening on the ground. I'm standing right here looking at it. And they like, nah, I'm telling you what it is from my vantage point. We're looking at all of it. And as far as we concerned, you bullshitting. And you be like, ain't no win. So they basically ain't in good communication with each other. And in that regard, the whole country and the world got to suffer behind miscommunication. So let me see what they said about Trump real quick. We get right back to the conversation. Let's go.
Showdown between President Trump and the city of Chicago over his plans to send National Guard troops and ramp up ICE enforcement in the city. Today, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson signed an executive order to prepare the city in the event of a militarized immigration crackdown.
We have not called for this. Our people have not asked for this. But nevertheless, we find ourselves having to respond to this. And we find ourselves in a position where we must take immediate, drastic action to protect our people from federal overreach. Protecting Chicago will ensure that every Chicagoan knows their rights, that every single family is prepared, and every part of city government is directed to protect the people of Chicago from federal action. This sweeping executive order directs our Department of Law to pursue any and every legal mechanism to hold this administration accountable for violating the rights of Chicagoans. This order affirms that the Chicago Police Department will not collaborate with military personnel on police patrols or civil immigration enforcement. We will not have our police officers, who are working hard every single day to drive down crime, deputized to do traffic stops and checkpoints for the president.
A brewing showdown between President Trump.
And that's deep. That's deeply spoken, because why they don't do that when it comes to black crime, when it comes to coming through black neighborhoods and stopping the crimes and all that. They don't never want to, not deputize the police. They want to influx the police even more. That stuff is just great. All of this whole conversation is about who gonna go and slap the black folks around. Thanks for voting too, guys. I see the votes coming in. I appreciate the votes coming in. We got Crisis Missing. I got money on the U.S. military. I'm with you on that one, bro, because everybody else talking. And I did see another guy video. Matter of fact, I got to get to that video. Excuse me. We playing this one. No. I seen a video today. Now, I forgot to even get to this one because I was talking about the major issues. But let's get down to the one I saw earlier today, which is like, what the fuck, man? What people talking about? It's like that? Okay, it wasn't on this one, but I can look do it up real quick. Yep. I think that's this dude's name. No, he's Daniels. And it's yeah, he did something about Chicago. That was just this morning, but it was on one of my other channels, so I want to make sure I play it though, because it's crazy. Is it this one? 2 days ago. Here it is right here. This the one right here. All right, let's get to it. And they're gonna play a commercial. Yeah, we on UU, so they gotta play that commercial real quick. But in the meantime, thanks for voting. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for kicking it. These commercials will be like 5 seconds, so it's over with already. So what happened in this video is the people from Chicago, the hood people, is responding to the president. You know what I'm saying? Because that comment right there kind of popped that up in my mind. So let me hit the audio real quick. and let it play out for y'all.
Where you can see workers setting up this barricade here ahead of these demonstrations that are expected in front of the Federal Plaza here.
Trump, do not send the National Guard to Chicago, man. Do not, I repeat, do not do it. We are a different breed out here, nigga. We are not Los Angeles, nigga. We are not Washington, D.C. This is Chicago. Go fight back. I'm telling you, go fight back, gang. Whatever. I don't give a what you talking about. Them young switches, gang. They not going for that, bro. I know a bunch of y'all finna say, oh, it's the National Guard. They can't do anything about it. They must go in Chicago. Y'all know that it's more bad people than good people, bro. There are over 100,000 gangs in Chicago by the city by itself, gang.
Yeah, Trump talking about something. Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. You about to find out why it's called the RAC. Goofy ass. We ain't scared of this shit.
Quiet part out loud.
Yo, it's wild. The culture and what's happening in these cities like Chicago is worse than we previously thought. There are people that are online that are basically warning Trump about the National Guard and or the military actually appearing in the city of Chicago. And they think that the young bulls over there or the gangsters and all of that. And I seen this one lady, maybe I'll do a separate review video to it. I seen this one older lady and she was saying that the Crips and the Bloods is coming together in order to, fight against ICE. And I'm not really sure if y'all understand what y'all saying. Number one, you cannot make a threat on the president of the United States of America. I'm not sure where y'all been at and how y'all.
But that's one point that he making is true. You cannot send a threat to the U.S. military, and that's why I wanted y'all to see that where he collaborated with a couple of the youngsters. We showed their videos, and they saying basically, I'm not tripping. If you come to Chicago, it's on. And in a lot of ways, obviously, a person from Chicago, that's not a joke. They not actually joking like that. They actually probably are saying that in a lot of fervency and belief. And it's not me saying that to try to put some hype on it to make it seem like something that is not. If you go back 4 years ago when Trump was in Chicago, they ran Trump out of Chicago. Not tripping. I'm not even lying about that. Like, he came to Chicago and these people ran him out. Whoever was downtown, I don't know if that, because at that time he was dealing with not the pandemic, but just being they didn't like him for the racial shit. You know what I'm saying? And it was like his first presidency. You know what I'm saying? You almost want to say it's a fight because you even saw the video of him scurrying with his people. I don't even see the video no more. Because they probably took that shit down because the news had this up. Yeah, because it's like 5 days, 2 days ago. You probably had to put 2020. I don't remember what year it was, 2020 something, but whatever time he was the last mayor. Last president. And the guys and the youngsters, they ran him out. They went down there. They went crazy on him and his security. And then you saw like him. You saw a line of Trump and his guys walking back to their truck or going back to the airport and getting the fuck out of town. And I was like, damn. And this is years ago. And then people was all on the internet bragging about it like, yeah, get the fuck out of here, Trump. Man, I wish I could find that shit. You know what I'm saying? Or maybe I should say Trump kicked out of Chicago. Maybe that'll pop it up. But it did happen. I mean, if you ever Google it on your own, because everything is, with him being a new president, everything is so new. You can't find it. It's 3 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours. You're not gonna be able to see the videos from 7 years ago or how many years back that was. But that did happen. But right now it looks like he's gonna be coming to the Chi with his po-pos, and the youngsters gonna have to show and improve. And that's why I say it's not healthy to be on that, because they got guns, and now they coming to do is arrest and lock people up anyway. They literally only got one job. They're not coming to do hair. They're not coming to fix cars. They're not coming to help you with put shit together on your garage. They come in here to literally just arrest. So if you're on the street, they want to see your paperwork. If you're outside, they want to see where you're going. If you're driving through, they want to make sure you're legit. So it's going to be scrutiny. You know what I'm saying? But so somebody feeling like they're going to fight back a gangster, it's really like, it's almost like TV. I think they talking more like heroic TV and movies. You know how it is in movies and TV. Hey, Monty, I'm live on here, bro. You can't do that right there. Yeah. So you get to see how crazy it is when he trying to explain that. But let me get right here. Samantha Myers said the news is Bama locally. Well, we know. Yeah, most times it is, but we'll see. Let's see what this lady got to say real quick.
For the possible arrival of federal troops, President Trump has threatened to send the National Guard there as soon as today on his claim to control crime, and it also comes during the administration's immigration crackdown. ABC's Christian Cordero is in Washington.
Today, fences are up around federal buildings in Chicago as the city braces for the possible arrival of National Guard troops. Similar to his deployment of troops in Washington, D.C., the president claims federal law enforcement is necessary to crack down on crime. And this morning on social media, the president claimed the nation's capital is now a safe zone. Violent crime in D.C. hit a 30-year low before the federal takeover, according to Washington's Metropolitan Police. But over the weekend, Trump shared this manipulated photo of himself depicted from the movie Apocalypse Now, with a caption that reads, "I love the smell of deportations in the morning," and Chicago about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Chicago's mayor responded by saying Trump wants to occupy our city and break our Constitution. Trump later changed his tone.
We're not going to war. We're going to clean up our city.
Thousands of people in Chicago and D.C. protested the administration's threats over the weekend. And in Aurora, Illinois, outside of Chicago, attendance was down at its annual Mexican Independence Day parade.
He wants everyone to be afraid. He loves to see that people are afraid.
The Department of Homeland Security says ICE raids are now underway elsewhere, including in Boston and Georgia, where authorities detained more than 300 South Korean nationals working at a Hyundai plant. South Korea had previously promised to invest $350 billion in the U.S. Trump is now trying to reassure.
Damn, they said arrested about 500 people. Woo, he going ham. He ain't letting nothing slide. You know what I'm saying? So you getting to see Trump. It is full throttle. You know what I'm saying? She said this. Samantha said hi. She said this is a soap opera. Wow, listen, they're there talking about uneducated trying to be funny and disrespectful. Shake my head. Wow, but the problem is that people are here illegally and they don't want to really see it as a crime. They don't want to see it as a crime. They want to see it as something else other than crime. And in Chicago, where crime is going crazy, it's a flip flop. It's basically like the Democrats don't want to see Chicago and other cities in the Democratic play like a crime, and then the other place don't want to see other people in the don't want to see the immigrants. The Republicans don't want to see the immigrants around. They feel like that's a crime. So how can they intermingle? How can they meld the two? And everything's a crime. A crime is a crime. That's what my whole point. Because when it comes to black people crimes, they make sure you go to jail. They're not sitting back saying, "Wait a minute, let's talk about this." They saying, "Look, you did this crime." They got slogans. They say you do the crime, you do the time. But when it comes to other people, it's like, hey, well, they don't even use the word criminal. They use detained. They always say arrested when they say black people. They use the word detained. Yes, the poor white too, the Hispanic people, the people that's been in America that's been dealing with racism and just craziness for the last centuries. And that's why I think the immigrants should come to America and understand it and side with the people who've already been here versus coming here, getting a job. Just like you said, South Korean people arrested at a plant in Georgia, 400 and something people arrested. Well, imagine this. Imagine being a black person with education, without education, and you can't get a job. Imagine being a poor white person with education or without education, and you can't get a job. And then this lasts for years. So it affects you mentally, it affects your family, it affects how you take care of your livelihood. You just even give up sometimes and be like, I'm done with all of this. I'm not going to forget the job. And then you hear about 400 and something people from another country working at a plant, getting a check, going to the store, buying things, going to the store, having Christmases. They're going to the store, celebrating birthdays and barbecues, and you sitting back like, why won't nobody hire me? Well, if you think about it, If another country say, I'm gonna give them $350 billion for you to take my people over here and they can work at this company and then they can just go living amongst the people and buy things and have cars and have apartments and have clothes and put the kids in school, you still sitting back struggling, wondering like, why is the world crazy? You going to church, you praying, you doing these things, you doing nice stuff, you giving a little bit you got to homeless and you, but nothing works. You can't bring up why the things ain't happening. So this is why, in my opinion, it is criminal for somebody to be in America and benefit off American society, but you can't give up, or we can't benefit from it, people who live in America since you was born. It's the poverty line that you get to continue to be within, so that if it didn't happen to you, somebody in your family is going to go to jail, or somebody, if you might go to jail, or your grandkid or your kid might go to jail because it's never enough money to come in. I'm not connected to the company over here in Georgia. I'm in another state. Do I have to travel over there to get work like they travel from another country? Will they hire me in that place? If I get the job, will I be able to work in there where I'm the only black person and everybody else from South Korea? This is the reality that it's facing. Where's the corporation that's close by me? It should be a corporation like they got why didn't they just build one over here? You know what I'm saying? So I can go to work and take care of my kids. And I went to school, or I didn't go to school. If we don't know nothing else, we know English. You know what I'm saying? But they still lock us out. Samantha Myers said, I kind of feel they should be able to come. Why do they come illegally? Are they criminals from their country? Well, obviously that, because you wouldn't have to sneak no damn where. You know what I'm saying? You can use your name, or but think about it like this. Even if you're not a criminal from your country, you're still circumventing the process. You're getting it quicker. So say I want to buy a house. So I could just go over there and just be like, give me the keys for this house. I'll pay you when I get off work in about 3 years. I'm circumventing the process. It don't matter about how I feel. It don't matter about how long I've been in America. It don't matter about what I got going on in my heart, if I pray every day, if I love God. If I just circumvent the process, then it's not going to work. They don't do that. So, but if another person gets to just come trace through and get it, move right there, step right here, move, and then it's never, I'm not even supposed to say he's circumventing the process. He's not even going through it. Y'all got me going through every single stage, one by one, and I'm still not there. And then the other people could come in here and it could be a crisis or so-called crisis, and they can just slide right through. So it just continues to be that, especially for black people. Everybody just basically, you're on a hurdle, but everybody just basically don't even have to run. You steady jumping the hurdles, but they don't even have to run them. They just start at the front and they pop at the end, and they only have to run them. You steady jumping them. You got to be in shape just to even get on the field, and they don't even work like that for those other folks. So that's why I say, if it's a criminality that black people project or act as in, it's the same way for other people. It don't matter why you came. Just like it's no matter if I robbed a bank and I just really wanted to buy some stuff for my kids because I couldn't afford it for a lot of years. That's not a good reason. If I want to go get this steak because this steak look good, I can't afford it, but I ain't ate in a long time. Give me this damn steak. That's still not a good reason. And we know that because living in America, you still go to jail. They even let you come to court and say that. They don't ask you to shut up. They come and say, why the hell you do it? You right in court. I ain't ate in a long time. They don't ever say, oh shit, good thing you said that. Okay, cool. Will you go home and get you some food? They say, okay, thanks for telling us. Write that down and put his ass in jail. They don't never change the feeling. So why is it, is this different? And Samantha said, I know it's hard. There's so many ways for y'all. Yeah, I wish I could change the. We all do. We all do. And not just for us, for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Samantha, I appreciate you saying that because we all do wish we could change the world. Not even just to help people or the haves and the have-nots. You could even help the millionaires because you could help the millionaires have more understanding. You could help them be more globalized. Imagine being able to build something from nothing to $1 billion brand or $1 billion anything. That's a smart person. So you want that person to actually keep activating. You don't want to put them over and set them down and be like, all right, that's enough for you. You made enough. That's a smart person. He could bring things for other people and get everybody else richer. Steve O'Stoner, what's good? My broski, this sound like a movie called Hood Hurdles. Damn, I like that one though. You say Hood Hurdles. That's hey, I like that one, bro, because that's something that'll go rock out there. I like that idea. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? And but that's true. Hood hurdles. You know what I'm saying? You gotta get over those things in order to have any type of success. And it ain't just because I remember, and I wasn't gonna say this, but I was remembering this thought earlier when I was a kid. It was a time when hood was not associated with being black or the neighborhood or just being that. It was not. When I was a kid, like on TV, when a person was a hood, they was talking about a white guy. with the hat. You know how they used to have those hats that be like Dob hats and shit. They wearing suits and trench coats and shit like that. They would be getting out of those old school black and white movie cars and shit like that. They would say those guys was hoods. It would be movies and shit like Dragnet or whatever would be on TV and you would hear the word, but it was our last name, so I would just hear the word. And then I remember the rap song came out. What was the guy's name? UTFO. And they had, and it was, a song got so big. It was called Roxanne, Roxanne, and it was a big ass song. And it was like, Roxanne, Roxanne, I want to be your man. This is on the radio. I'm like 12 years old. It's on the radio going crazy. I'm 11, 12 years old. This song called Roxanne, Roxanne. And one of the rappers in the song, he said, each guy was trying to get Roxanne talking to the girl. So each one was describing who they was. One was a doctor. One knew how to use big words. And then one was trying to convince her he wasn't a hood. And that was his rhyme. He was the third rapper on that song, Roxanne, Roxanne. He was trying to convince her he wasn't a hood. So he was saying he was educated. You know what I'm saying? So in the song. And so that's the first time I heard the word hood used by a black person in a rap song. You know, and from when I was 11, I guess that got to be like 83 or some shit like that. And maybe yeah, something like 83, 82, whatever. So anyway, that's the first time I heard that. And so now, from everybody utilizing the word hood as a reference point to their neighborhood, it's like funny because everybody's from the hood in that respect because everybody's from a neighborhood. So when you say hood films, it's not just black people, it's not just white people, it's not green people, yellow people. If you live anywhere, you're from a neighborhood. And so you also are making hood films when you put your camera up to film something because you're from the hood. You're from your hood. You know what I'm saying? They switched the word at some point. And so obviously the word means your neighborhood. Blah, blah, blah. Let's get back to the conversation. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate the votes. Y'all going crazy on the votes. I appreciate the votes. The votes is going crazy. Thank y'all for voting too. And the question again is Chicago mayor delusional about crime? And I want to say, yes, he is. And most people say 60% saying he is. So it's a lot of people that's rocking, in my opinion, with that. And Samantha say that part, like that, I appreciate that. She said she didn't know that. Steve O'Stoner, that's the hood hurdles. Hey, I like that. We got to chat about that one, bro. Yeah, so we just kind of still talking about Mayor Johnson and all of the craziness that's going on with him. And, excuse me, the people saying that they're not afraid of the mayor, of the president coming with the National Guards to Chicago. Most people saying that they ready for him. So I'm gonna let this little young lady explain herself as to why she says she's not
bringing your side project to life.
And see, she's not afraid of them coming to Chicago. She's gonna take it away in 1 second. All right, let's let her break it down for us. Let's see if we can find her over here. There she go. All right, let me hit the sound real quick and let her tuck it away.
Dangerous here? Yes, it's dangerous here. Are we generally desensitized to the amount of violence that goes on here? To some extent, yes. However, Chicago is one of them cities that what you live by is what you die by. Good, bad, or indifferent. What you win by is what you lose by. Sometimes when things happen in the city of Chicago, it's not a coincidence and it's not a shock to us because if you be outside doing bullshit, bullshit's gonna find you.
It's funny.
That's great. Sometimes those cut and dry points right there is kind of harsh. You know, I think about a lot of times people who don't live in Chicago, who not from here. What would they think if they was around it? You know, because I lived in a few states, and then you see it, and then it's a lot of times like so calming, it's so quiet. It's like you be like, damn, this is what it's like out of town. And then at first you be like, whoa, it's nice. You know, I really fucking like it in California, New York. I don't care where I'll be. And you be like, I like this shit. And then it'd be like, after about maybe 4 days, maybe 9 days, you be like, whoa, this shit is boring as a bitch. Like, what the fuck? So this what y'all do all day? Like every day? This is it? Oh my God, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I mean, you be like, whoa, this is it. Like, so y'all just do this? Hell no. You know, I'm running the fuck up out of here. You know what I'm saying? And that's why your mind kind of get you to, because in Chicago, it's so much going on. It's in different sections of the city. It's food, it's fucking people. It's just all the time. And then it's like a town that don't really sleep. So if you get up at 3 a.m, it's cars still outside. It's people still walking around a lot of times, you know, and it had to be more like 5:15 a.m. for it to be empty. And then maybe about 30 minutes later, the city opened back up for people going to their job. You know what I'm saying? So it's like sometimes you go to some towns or whatever, and it might close at 9 p.m. And you like, wait, that's it? You like, yeah, that's it, man. I won't do nothing after 9. You like, what the fuck are you talking about? What y'all do? You don't do nothing? No, we sit in the crib all night. You like, oh my God. I have to get used to this type of shit because you from a town that's moved so quick, it's going so fast. If you jump in your car, you can go any section and find people to kick it with a party. It's clubs. It's just so much shit. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, it's the other part too, where you could get caught up in some wrong shit. It's a lot of shit that's going on like that too. That's rampant. And it was like that when I was a shorty too. It's like, you hear the news and you hear and sometimes the funny thing about it is at my age now, you hear the news talking about it. And you like, what the fuck was the news at when I was a goddamn 19-year-old in 1992? You motherfuckers left us stranded. Y'all handed us gangster rap and didn't say shit. Matter of fact, didn't even let no rappers out this bitch. It was like only 1 or 2 rappers that came and made it. The rest of the whole country had rap motherfuckers. Everybody in Chicago was locked into the gang shit. Nobody was rapping. Nobody was a star. You only had like R. Kelly, Twister, and Common. That's it. I'm talking about for 2, 3 decades, nigga. It's nobody else made it out this bitch. When you talk about a place like New York, it's fucking 2,000 rappers just from one borough. You know what I'm saying? And then it flipped to Atlanta and Ohio and different towns. It's like, when they gonna get Chicago a chance to fucking get some? Man, what the fuck is they doing in rap? Why are they blocking the rap music? Why are they blocking the message coming out of Chicago? But when I think about to be at this age, I think about it. I say, well, Jesse Jackson was from here, Farrakhan was from here. I say they didn't want the messages coming out when it was Black Power rap music coming from Chicago too. They waited till they got gangster rap, but they still didn't even want the gangster boys getting in. They was like, y'all can't even get a voice. No fucking voice. And then they finally let the shorties come in when they got like the Chief Keef crew and every youngster that came behind him. Finally, the youngsters got a voice, and it's like, God damn, I know that's not my time and my era, but it's you still can tell that rap music is finally getting a chance to come out of the city because they just refuse to let it out. You know what I mean? You're talking about being 18, 19, 20, and everybody you know and got to be from New York and Brooklyn. I don't even know what the fuck Staten Island look like, but I could tell you names of the streets and shit. I could tell you, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've never even been in this spot. I mean, I've been there at this point now, but not at that time of growing up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, where's our sound at? So now you got it out there, and it's so out there. The youngsters didn't just come out there; they blew the fucking shit off. People walking around saying on Phonem Gray, white people. You know what I'm saying? The kids have really inundated the world with their words and with their conversation and their music. Now here comes the "is too violent." Now to come, he's too, look at us. We got to stop the violence. We got to stop this. When I was a kid and it was violent as fucking Chicago, they didn't budge a sound. It wasn't on TV. It was nothing. But when they finally let the message and the conversation come out from the youngsters and they talk their way, they got their vernacular, they got their conversation. If you're not in it, you might not even understand what the fuck they saying. But that's what I felt like rap was when we was young. The words they were saying, when you heard Biggie, when you heard Pac, I knew exactly what the fuck they were saying. I knew exactly what Wu-Tang was saying. I knew exactly what all the metaphors. I could break down every song Twister was saying. I knew I was a fucking scientist of rap. So not no more today, but you can understand that there's youngsters and shit that's breaking down every fucking word, every sound, every verbiage, because that's what music do for you. So you can see that I would say I would never want them to stop the music from being a part of it, and I would never blame music either for being a reason why people do violence and nothing like that. I would never blame nothing like that. It's just in you. If that's the person, they're gonna be who they are. But I just know that now that the message have gotten out and you can hear the music from the youngsters, now you see it's a real big problem and they don't really like that happening. And it's like, stop it, crazy. What the fuck? You even see the words that you say in the rhymes can get you arrested and get you indicted and get you locked up. They're gonna probably start doing that shit on podcasts because remember, in America, the number one amendment is first. The number one, what they call an amendment, right? So number one is freedom of speech. So then you got a couple of them within that little freedom of speech. You got freedom of press. You got freedom of assembly. So these are things that's really intangibles. You know what I'm saying? They're not really, you can't touch speech. You can't touch press. You can't touch, people coming together. It happens, but you can't it's not nothing you can grab on. You know what I'm saying? So it's ways that they are trying to make sure that they control those things. You know what I'm saying? So if you have freedom of speech and you're going to make a rap song where it has to be within this parameter of sound that people need to hear in their ears, or it's a problem, or as you know, and especially expression is expression. But then I don't know, like a lot of times you hear the people saying that they tired of rhymes to the crimes and shit like that. So again, I don't really follow everybody's story like that. You know, again, when we was following rap, it wasn't so much of that type of shit in it. You know what I'm saying? It was all about who was gonna be the best rapper. But today is different. You know what I'm saying? So, but as far as Mayor Johnson go, being a mayor and they keep saying they want money instead of helping the crime go down, all this shit is just something to think about. And I want to know what y'all think about it too, because that's really important because I got my opinion, you know what I'm saying? But I want to know what y'all think about it. I see in the comment section in the poll, everybody's saying right there it's 50-50. It's 50-50 across the board. It's like all this time we've been on this pod and all the people who slid through and made a vote, it's 50-50. It's not even lopsided. It's like straight down the middle. Is Chicago Mayor Johnson delusional about crime? Some people say no. Some people say yes. And I think that's crazy too because you think about a city like Chicago, New York, LA, Denver, you name it. It's everybody there. So everybody got their own opinion. Everybody got their own experience. Everybody got their own idea. So it's like, you know, just because I might have an experience where I'm not safe or I'm not in an environment that's got me right, somebody else might live in another section of the city and they don't even hear gunshots. They don't even see violence. The bus stop is always full with people. Nice, nothing bad happens. So this is why people could say no. But even Mayor Johnson, by his own admission, which we played in the beginning of the video, he said, I live in Austin, and it's the most violent part of the city, and I still love it, and I ain't moving, which is crazy because most bougie mayors, they not only can just live downtown, they got this. I think they got a mansion or some shit like that when you the mayor. It's like you got your own mansion now. That's your spot. So who living in that motherfucker? He probably got boxes sitting up in that bitch like I'm staying in my crib. But then they say he got 150 police officers too that is on his payroll. I'm not payroll, but you understand what I'm saying. That is watching his life. You know what I'm saying? So that also is something to think about. Are you really in a threat if you got 150 police officers watching over your life? You know what I'm saying? So all that is to be determined, man. So, but I'm gonna let y'all get on out of here, man. We had a nice little show today, and I appreciate y'all watching. I'm gonna have the rest of the podcasts you can watch up there, which is all of the Black Outrage podcasts. And at the bottom of it, you'll be able to subscribe to more shows, and we'll have more conversation. We got videos we just put up earlier, more videos coming too in the end. And let me know in the comment section what are the shows y'all want to have on here. We're gonna talk about it. And I appreciate y'all looking and watching, man. I'll let y'all later.